If you love Chevys, then this is the place for you. This is the wrap-up and recap of the 2016 Menards Chevy Series, where we've toured the country to find the finest rides that represent the best of the bowtie breed. Welcome to a look back at the 2016 Menards Chevy Series and a tribute to some of the elite machines we've encountered on our travels around the country. From the start of the year in Virginia to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and concluding in Louisiana's Cajun country, it's been a season of stunning rides. Let's kick it off with Ted Jones and this beauty from Virginia Motorsports Park.
A 1959 Chevrolet Impala that is drop dead gorgeous.
I actually found this car in the city right next to me in Hopewell, Virginia. I told him that if he were ever willing to sell it, that I had interest in it. It took about 4 more years to get my hands on it. No, we had a few man-sized holes in the car. We knew we had some floor problems, but when we got back to the trunk area, we discovered that the inner fender wells had been duct taped to the trunk floor on both sides. And when we pulled the duct tape off, it had Bondo behind it, and then it had spray bed liner over top of that. By the time we got it all off, a person could actually step through the hole, so we ended up having to find a donor car to get inner fender wells to put in the trunk. It's Inferno red over a pearl white. We originally had painted the bottom silver, and it just blended with the chrome too much, so we went back and got some more white and made it a lot brighter and get it to pop. It had a 327 when I bought it, but it's an original 283 car. And I wanted a 348 in it, so we hunt one down in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and picked it up and put it in.
You going to keep this car or you going to sell it?
No, I'm having way too much fun with this with shows. We've been finished about 4 years now, and we hit shows just about every weekend. It's going to stay in the garage and continue to enjoy the heck out of that.
Our next stop on the Menards Chevy Series took us to US 131 Motorsports Park, where Chevys were out in force both on the track and in the show field. As Joe Costello found, one of the most popular rides for customization and restoration was Chevy's very own sports car.
1962 Chevrolet Corvette. Russ, this machine is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Put a lot of work into it, and it's been a fun car.
From what I understand, you had to hunt down every part, every piece. Take us through it.
Yeah, I started with just a back tail panel section on this car and went to several swap meets, and a friend of mine had some parts, so we put this car together from scratch. I did all the chassis and body work. A friend of mine painted it, Rick Stratton. I had the interior done by Brian Bodie out of Ligonier, Indiana, but the build of the car was all mine. C1 cars are a little firmer than the later ones, and we drive this car, 300-400 mile trips. It's not a problem one way, and we really enjoy it. It's a 2008 Corvette LS2 with a 4L65 transmission, and it just goes down the road great. The car was originally built with a big block in it, and I put 400 miles on that, and out that came and then went in the LS. So it's really been a nice car to drive.
This year, trucks both old and new were out in force at every Menards Chevy Series event, and that was especially true at the Texas Motorplex. Many pickups have lived a first life as work trucks, and that was especially true in the Lone Star State.
The LMC Truck Life Award goes to this amazing 1962 Chevrolet C10. This one belongs to a Hawaiian, Chris Patten. Chris, this truck is amazing, and I understand you put a lot of work into it.
Yes, I sure did. I put about 3 years of my life in it. It was in really bad shape when I first got it. Complete through it, front end, rear end, everything's all brand new under it. Drive it all the time, at least a couple times a week to work. I've always liked the 60 to 66 are very nice, but 60 to 63 are really one of my favorite body styles. And
tell us about the engine and why you chose fuel injection.
Fuel injection runs a lot better. This thing has a really big cam in it, and it just didn't run really good with the carburation. With the fuel injection, you can adjust it to however you want. You can have it idle wherever you want, and it just runs way better with that fuel injection setup.
Now, what about the interior, and what parts did you get from LMC?
I got the chrome trim around the doors, the rubber, the door handles, the mirror, the rear springs, bumpers, the light trim, the tail lights. I got a lot of parts from LMC. Yeah, it's you don't want to put too much stuff in the back of that bed. It's too nice. But it's also LMC wood. It's a pine bed with a black stain on it and varnished over the black stain. And it just makes it look pop with that black, you know. I don't know if you noticed, it's got a motorcycle license plate at the bottom of the shifter for the plate on it. I had that floor shift box and it just fit perfect in there, and just a little something from Hawaii in there, you know. Made it look cool.
What's it feel like to drive this thing down the road? What's the experience like? Got a tight little wheel, you got a big giant truck. How's it feel?
It drives like a modern vehicle, you know, disc brakes because it's a 72 chassis. So it drives like a dream.
It's a 62 body on a 72 chassis, so you have some more modern amenities.
Right, that's what makes it, that's the whole reason for putting it on the 72 chassis, to have the disc brakes and 5-lug and all that.
Stay with us for more of the best of the Menards Chevy series, including a mile-high Chevelle masterpiece. This episode of Menards Chevy series is being brought to you by Dustless Blasting. It's the future of surface preparation. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. B&M Racing and Performance, quality performance products that work. And by EvapoRust, super safe rust remover. Welcome back to the best of the 2016 Menards Chevy series. One of the strongest turnouts of the year graced the fields at Maple Grove Raceway. And while there were some impressive race cars on the track, Brian Loans checked out the Minnies Top Dog winner that was a beautifully engineered Pro Street machine.
It's the 1966 Chevy 2 of Mike Raup. Mike, this is a spectacular car, and I want to start with the chassis because it's a jungle gym in there.
Yeah, it's a 2.3 box. It's all chrome ollie. A local chassis guy, AutoFab Race Car, did it for me, and turned out really well. Yeah, it's an all aluminum 442 big small block. It's got a Brodax block, 15-to-1 motor, Pro Action 14-degree heads, and it's got two 1050 Da Vinci's on it.
What drove you to build a car to this level? Because sometimes guys will build a Pro Street car and put kind of a mild engine in it. You didn't.
No, I didn't. Ever since I was in high school, I always wanted to do something like this. So finally it came to a point in my life where I could afford to do it, and I did it. So
it is a spectacular piece, and you went with a brilliant bright white. Tell me about the paint choice.
It's a 1968 Rivera white. I've always liked white cars, and every car I have is white. So I went with the white. So.
Well, we saw this car drive into the show this morning. How often do you get out and take it to the ice cream stand?
Not a whole lot. Maybe about 4 or 5 times a year. So.
Has the motor been on the dyno? Do you have any idea what kind of power it makes?
Yes, 850 horsepower. Yes, 670 foot-pounds of torque. The transmission's a turbo 400 with a 4800 stall, and it's got a 4.9-inch with a Strange Ultra center section with 410 gears.
The billet motor plate, I think, is a very cool addition under the hood. You see a lot of those that are just kind of a a piece that's been cut out, but this is billet machine. Talk to me about that.
Local fabricator near my house and all that made that for us and all that. So it's got a front motor plate and a mid plate in it. So it turned out really well.
It is a mean car, a spectacular car, and better than that, it's turned out to a very high level. This 1966 Chevy 2, and Mike Raup, very happy owner. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
The next Menards Chevy Series event of the year at Vandermeer Raceway outside Denver gave off a real Rocky Mountain high with this award winner.
At the Menards Chevy Series, a beautiful Chevelle will usually win the OPG award. But here at Vandermeer, the DriveDuracell.com Crank It with the Copper Top Award winner is this awesome 1967 Chevelle owned by Jim Meyer. Jim, this car is hot, and you built it yourself.
Yes, thank you very much. I enjoyed building the car. Took me about 2.5 years to build it. I've had it a little over 3.5 years now. The car that when I originally bought it was in relatively good shape. Knew what I wanted to do with it and drove it home. It drove fine, but the minute I got it home, in the garage it went. With the help of my brother, in 2.5 years in a 3-car garage, we totally rebuilt the car.
There are thousands of little details that the casual observer might not notice. Take us through some of them.
As you can see, there's a 67 Corvette gas cap. I wanted to build this car kind of like GM could have built it. I know Chip Foose says that a lot, but make some subtle changes. I made the spoiler out of a block of foam, hand formed it completely along with the air dam on the front. 427 crate motor, Tremec 5-speed, ram clutch, When I did the interior layout, I started out knowing I wanted to change the trim to something different and unique. I used Christmas wrap paper. The back side of it has the 1-inch squares. So I laid it out, designed it with the 1-inch squares, took that to work, converted it to CAD, and then from CAD we took it to a water jet cutting place in Berthoud, Colorado, and we water jet cut it out.
It's the ultimate DIY. Why was it important to have a copper top powering this car?
The copper top is an excellent battery. I went with the AGM style with the glass mat concept to give me a long, durable crank. And you know, when you're at a show, your doors are open, your lights are on all the time. One of the last things you don't want to do is a car not to start when you leave a show.
From the Rocky Mountains, the Menards Chevy series headed back east to New England Dragway in New Hampshire, where Brett Kepner found a gorgeous ride from 60 years ago.
Tell me about the 1956 Chevrolet.
All right, well, I bought that back in 1988 when I was still in high school. Didn't look like that.
I can imagine.
Anywhere close. Tore it apart in 1990, finished it about 4 years ago. So
no kidding.
25-year project.
It sounds like a garage project almost the entire time.
Yeah.
Where your friends didn't even believe that you had a 56 Chevy?
A lot of them wondered if I still had it, and were very surprised I still did when I told them I did have it.
Some of the most unbelievable revisionary work that you've done in this car. What was the toughest part?
Paying for it all.
Really?
No. It took a long time, a lot of saving, a lot of support from the family when I disappeared on Saturdays and Sundays. But I was glad to get it to the point where I could drive it and enjoy it now, and the smaller projects won't tie it up for years on end.
That's an amazing amount of work for everybody involved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
When the Menards Chevy series returns, we'll check out a time machine Chevelle that looks like it just rolled off the assembly line. Stay with us. Welcome back to the best of the Menards Chevy Series 2016. The next event on the schedule took our crew to Bristol Raceway, where Chevys have long been a favorite manufacturer. And in the shadow of Thunder Mountain, Ted Jones found a car that looks better than brand new.
Our OPGA Original Award goes to one of the most original, perfect restorations I've ever seen. 1967 Chevelle. This is the original color. If you look underneath the hood right here, all of the things are correct. The tower clamps, the different badges, the safety paint marks, everything completely original. And yes, this was originally an SS 396. They had 3 horsepowers, 375, 350, and this one, the 325 horsepower version. Now, the story of how he found this car is incredible.
The lady bought this car new in Hinesville, Georgia, February of '67. She donated this to her 3 teenage boys. They mutilated the poor car to death. She wanted to get rid of it out of her backyard, so we loaded up a truck trailer, me and my older brother, and we hauled to Tallahassee, Florida. And we worked a deal and loaded up all the parts and hauled it back to Tennessee and stripped it down. It's been a complete frame off, nothing but restoration. It's a number matching car with SD block, 10-bolt rim, Muncie 4-speed. She ordered everything you see on the list price as it sets. Factory tilt wheel, defogger, AM FM radio, 396, 325 bores.
Was OPGI able to help you much with it?
Yes, sir, they were. As far as the detailing, all the labels that you see are all OPG, all the trim parts, OPG, all the emblems has been immaculately reproduced by them. And I've had really good luck with their parts and service as far as it goes about replacing anything that's not worked, don't fit, don't look right. They're very good. And about 90% of all the parts you see on this come from OPG.
From the Tennessee mountains, the Menards Chevy Series then rolled into Gateway Motorsports Park, where Kathy Fisher found another sweet Chevelle.
What catches my eye about this car? Bling, baby. I love the paint. Tell me about it.
Well, okay, this is a pearl orange that's tangerine in color. It has a lot of custom features. The firewall's done, underneath the hood's done. It really catches eyes, like I say, in the sun, it just comes alive. Usually you see people walk by and, like you say, they catch your eyes and they turn around, they take a second look at it, then they actually start looking at it. And they say, wow. And they start pointing and saying, look at this, look at that. So that's what really is neat. I really like that. I enjoy seeing that. And it makes me feel good that people like it. This is a big block Chevy 454. Has a big cam in it, high performance heads. It's got some custom headers from Holloway Racing. It's got a lot of, really massive stuff put into it. The March Serpentine Pulley kit that makes it really cool. The interior is a custom interior, not actually original, but Bruce Hagee out of Belleville, Illinois, he was very proud of doing the car, and he put a lot of effort into it himself to bring it up to status.
Woo! Throughout the 12 events on the calendar, we've seen all different models of Chevrolets, from Impalas to Chevelles, Camaros to Corvettes, and a little bit of the unique thrown in for good measure. The only limits seem to be the styling, engineering, and imagination of the Chevy fanatics. Here now is our next 2016 flashback.
One of Chevrolet's hottest and most fun performance models through the 1960s were the shoebox era Nova Super Sports. This 1967 model is the winner of this week's RockAuto Restored Award. John Finley, this is your car, and it is a car you have driven a whole bunch.
Driven it 26,000 miles since I finished it.
And how long has that been?
I got it originally, found it by the railroad tracks in 1978. Been together for about 12, 13 years.
You get out here and use it during these nice spring, fall, and summer months out here in the Midwest.
I drive it all the time. I even took it to Phoenix in November. It was snowing here when I left.
Tell me about the drivetrain in the car, because you've kept this thing pretty true to form.
Yes, it's a small block, 350 engine, 30 over. It's got an overdrive transmission, so I get real good gas mileage. You get about 22 miles to the gallon on the highway.
Now talk to me about RockAuto. What kind of role they played here, not only your restoration, but your continued use of this car?
Buy RockAuto parts for just about everything that I do, except for, the specialty stuff, high dollar disc brakes and stuff like that. But any suspension parts, engine parts, whatever, RockAuto is a good place to buy stuff, good dependable parts. They're good parts and reasonably priced.
Well, John, thanks very much. There's nothing cooler than a guy who not only loves his car, but also drives it, and you have proven that you're both of those things.
Yes, thank you very much.
There's still more of the best of the 2016 Menards Chevy series to come, including a West Coast Camaro that is eye candy inside and out. Stay with us. Menards Chevy Series is being brought to you in part by LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, customize. Z-Max, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system. Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. And by MRT Performance, for performance car parts and servicing. Welcome back to the best of the 2016 Menards Chevy Series. Time now to turn back the clock another 30 years and check out the West Coast machinery at Auto Club Famosa Raceway with Brian Loans.
Well, this week's Minnie's Top Dog Award winner is a 1972 Camaro, and saying that's like saying that the Empire State Building's pretty tall. This is a gorgeous 1972 Camaro. Steve Butler, this is your car, and it's about the details of this thing. So, man, the obvious is that the paint's beautiful. Give me some details.
Well, we started out with just a bare bones Camaro. We shaved all the marker lights, changed the door handles. We didn't like the stock door handles in it. Made a fiberglass dash, took out all the switches, hid the switches, changed the center console to a full-blown fiberglass center console. If it can be powder coated, it's powder coated. We went so far as even the engine block is powder coated. It's not painted.
It is magnificent on every level. The motor, is it a stock displacement small block, or tell me what's going on there?
Absolutely not. It's a 350 small block. We've built it, bored 30 over. Got a pretty heavy cam in it, flat top pistons, aluminum heads. It's pushing about 400 horse, give or take.
Sure.
It's enough to scare the wife, and that's all she wanted.
The work you've done on the nose, I think, is very cool because people that know Camaros must walk up to us and go, hey, wait a second.
It's a 3-piece nose on a stock Camaro. We have MIG and TIG welded all the seams in. It was difficult at first. We went through a couple front ends, but it was labor of love.
Talk to me about the upholstery on the inside of the car, because that too stands out. Are the seats Camaro seats, or they come from something else?
Yes, they are. They're stock Chevy Camaro seats out of a 72. We have taken 6 inches off the top. That way you could see the upholstery in the back seat. Because we'd come up with such a good idea, we didn't want to hide it. Sure. So we left the original seat. We just chopped it down 6 inches, kept everything else original.
Well, congratulations on the Minnies Top Dog Award this weekend. Well earned. It is a magnificent Camaro.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Our final favorite comes from the newest event on the Menards Chevy Series calendar that was held at Thunder Road Raceway in Louisiana. Kathy Fisher found this terrific truck.
We are looking at one fine 1957 Chevy 3100 pickup truck. How did you find this one, Lawrence?
Well, a buddy of mine found this truck. It came from California. It's a really good body, so I talked him out of it. I needed it. It was a long bed. I cut the bed down, shortened the bed, built the chassis, Camaro front suspension, and away we went from there. And built the engine and sat on the stand for a few years, and I decided it's time to put it together.
What other plans would you have for this truck?
Well, I just want to get around town and, leave the red light, leave a little smoke, burn the tire once in a while, when the police are not looking. and go to a lot of car shows. That's my plan, go to a lot of car shows.
So that's a wrap on this look back on the 2016 Menards Chevy Series. We hope you've enjoyed our best of flashbacks, and we're pleased to announce that the series will be back for more in 2017. Keep an eye out for an event near you. It's a great time to be a Chevy fanatic.